An absolute stunner. Bills Mafia, your Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. This is insane. I've already heard a bunch more than we already talked about on our earlier video on the channel. You can check that out after today's live stream. But we are live here in the Bills Breakdown, just breaking down the most insane move to wake up to on a Monday morning. The Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott after 9 seasons and the inability to make a Super Bowl with Josh Allen at the helm. Breaking news, Bills fans. I just woke up to this news. I wasn't going to be here in the Chat Sports offices until later this afternoon. Had some other stuff to take care of late night. But man, we had to get in here and we had to go live for this breaking Bills news. Sean McDermott fired as head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Let me know your one-word reaction to Sean McDermott getting fired down in the live chat right now, as we got over 70 people already rocking and rolling with us. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely insane. It's tough to kind of get all my thoughts together. McDermott got this Bills team out of the drought, made the playoffs, and then was a perennial playoff contender over the last half decade with Josh Allen, and they haven't been able to make a Super Bowl, now losing in the divisional round to the Denver Broncos. And I guess it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I had thought maybe if they had lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wild card round that Sean McDermott might get fired. But no, now we see after a failed AFC Championship appearance that they decided to cut ties and are going to be keeping general manager Brandon Beane, by the way. I want people to know that as well. Brandon Beane is being retained as the general manager. He will lead the head coaching search here for the Buffalo Bills, and he even got a promotion to president of football operations. We'll talk about that a lot more as well. Insane news. Ian Rappaport came in with the information saying the Bills are moving on from head coach Sean McDermott after their loss in the divisional round to the Broncos. And he also reported that general manager Brandon Beane would remain the general manager and help lead the search for a new coach. Now, I want people to know that this is a Terry Pegula decision being made here on Sean McDermott. Both McDermott, the head coach, and Brandon Beane, the general manager, reported to the owner. McDermott did not report to the general manager, Brandon Beane, like a lot of chain of commands happen across the NFL. They did it differently. Each of them were reported to the owner, and you could be thinking in my mind that Brandon Beane maybe went to the owner, Terry Pegula, and tried to save his own ass by saying, let's move on from Sean McDermott here. I don't know the conspiracies all behind it, but I just think it's absolutely insane that not only do the Bills keep Brandon Beane as the general manager, but they also promote him to the president of football operations. Ari Mayer of My Sports Update saying the following: Bills are promoting general manager Brandon Beane, giving him the title of president of football ops and GM, and he will oversee all facets of the organization. They're leaving everything in the hands of the guy who can't draft the wide receiver position, who doesn't address the wide receiver position, who doesn't like to overspend and put themselves in a position to win a Super Bowl. This is utterly ridiculous. Oh my goodness. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN coming in with this as well, which I was curious. I was definitely surprised to see that rumblings persisted for a few weeks. Thought playoff effort the last few weeks might have saved him, but it was not enough. It was not enough. The Bills, obviously, if that pick that ends up going to Jaquim McMillan goes to Brandon Cooks, they get the tie to the offense, then they end up maybe keeping their job, or Sean McDermott at least ends up keeping his job here. Wow. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, man. Non-stop Bills coverage coming this offseason. We're not going to stop anytime soon. We're going to be keeping you guys tapped in with this head coaching search. The Bills are late to the party. There's already so many head coaching vacancies in the National Football League. John Harbaugh has already accepted the job to be the Giants head coach. Kevin Stefanski has already accepted the job to be the Atlanta Falcons head coach. Wow. This is insane. Let me know your one-word reaction down in the live chat right now. I'm going to get to some people already rolling in here with some reactions. Wow. Surprised the Bills fired the head coach 3 years too late. I think two things can be true. I think the Bills firing Sean McDermott here is 3 years too late, but I also believe that this is a bit of a crazy decision because Sean McDermott, in my opinion, from my point of view, had done his best coaching job in a long time this season. When you consider the resources that were put around Sean McDermott in terms of the weapons around Josh Allen, some of the players brought in on the defensive side of the ball, some mismanagements of some funds there. And then you throw in all the injuries that this Bills roster saw. They had, what was it, 5 extended injuries along the defensive line. They were on like their 4th or 5th safety by the time they had some injuries come up in the Bronco game. They were down multiple boundary corners. I've never seen a team hit by this much injury. Even the Buffalo Bills, who get hit by injury every single year, I've never seen them decimated like this. And the fact that they were that close and got further than the quarterbacks that everybody is saying Josh didn't have to go through in the postseason. Mahomes, Lamar, and Burrow. He got further than all those guys, and yet Sean McDermott still gets the axe here. Something's telling me that Brandon Beane had something to do with this. Even if Brandon Beane didn't have the absolute power to go out there and fire Sean McDermott, there had to have been some chatter between him and Terry Pegula to make this firing happen. Now, here is the Bills' official statement on Sean McDermott being fired. The Bills announced that Sean McDermott has been relieved of his duties as head coach. Sean has done an admirable job of leading our football team for the past 9 seasons, said Pegula, but I feel that we are in need of a new structure within our leadership to give this organization the best opportunity to take our team to the next level. We owe that to our Bills players and Bills Mafia. Sean helped change the mindset of this organization, was instrumental in the Bills becoming a perennial playoff team. I respect all the work, loyalty, and attention to detail he showed for this team and the community. I wish Sean, Jamie, and his family all the best. Moving forward, Brandon Beane will now serve as the president of football operations / general manager of the Buffalo Bills. Brandon will oversee all facets of our football operation, including the oversight of our coaching staff. I have full faith in and have witnessed Brandon's outstanding leadership style and have confidence in his abilities to lead our organization. Beane will lead the search for a new head coach and will be working directly with Pegula and Pete Guggelli, who will now serve as president of business operations during the interview and hiring process. I just uploaded a video yesterday talking about how Brandon Beane is the one that deserves to be fired, and yet he gets a promotion. This is bad, man. I'm not a fan of this whatsoever. Now, Allen's not going to request a trade or anything like that. Utterly ridiculous. A bunch of people had also said, as well as Diana Rossini comes in with this from recent conversations with the Bills, people in the Bills organization, the sense I get is that there were opportunities to win Saturday in Denver, officiating or otherwise, and leadership felt a change was needed after coming up short of the Super Bowl once again. We're getting Santo Lima shouts in the chat right now. Unreal. This is insane, man. Rossini also came in with this that I'm not necessarily shocked by, but I would be. I don't know how I would feel if this would happen. Talking to NFL executives around the league about Buffalo's next head coaching options, the name that keeps coming up is a familiar one, a Buffalo native and someone Josh Allen loves, Brian Daboll. We'll talk about different Bills head coaching candidates in a little bit here on the live show, but man, Bills firing Sean McDermott after 9 seasons, couldn't get over the hump. So you guys are saying back to mediocrity now after McDermott is fired here? So we got Parker Hyatt in the building as well. Who do you guys want to be the Bills' next head coach? Let me know down in the chat as I'm still continuing to sift through a bunch of information here. Like, I didn't really have a lot of time to sit and process this and sit and, dive into why this happened. I mean, obviously it's a buildup of so much at this point, but man, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff from Bills players and people in this organization. John Scott tweeting out reaction from a Bills player I reached out to in regarding Sean McDermott firing. Quote, think it's bullshit, to be honest. Look, if you asked me this after last season, if you asked me this after the year before, when they couldn't beat the Chiefs after 4 or 5 tries, I would have been fine firing Sean McDermott. But after this season, it strikes me as a bit interesting, considering a lot of people were on the Brandon Beane train, on the Axe Brandon Beane train, and next thing you know, Sean's fired. Makes me think that Beane had something to do with it, even if he wasn't McDermott's direct boss. Cameron Wolf said he talked to 3 Bills players this morning who were just learning the news of Sean McDermott being fired. After we all did, they were all shocked. One texted, WTF. This is wild. And to be keeping Brandon Beane And a good thing I have all these tweets bookmarked, man, because it's unreal. The Bills had $28 million in cap allocations, cap hits to their team, to Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, the wide receiver position that we know Brandon Beane has not been able to hit on. That group had 4 touchdowns, and Khalil Shakir had all 4 of them. Josh Palmer and Curtis Samuel, who you committed 8 figures to this season, and high 8 figures, 0 touchdowns. The Bills have never addressed the wide receiver position, never in the first round of the NFL draft, never with a high priority in free agency, except for when you want to sign Josh Palmer to a 3-year, $30+ million contract. Oh, what about the defensive line that hasn't gotten a sack in a playoff game? Hasn't gotten a sack in a playoff game or an elimination playoff game since 2020. The last Bills edge rusher to get a sack in a playoff game since 2020 was Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes. Last offseason, the Bills signed Greg Rousseau to an $80 million extension, signed Michael Hoyt to a $21 million deal, 3 years. He tore his Achilles. Joey Bosa, $12 million deal. He disappeared as the season got deeper and deeper. Larry Ogunjobi, $6.7 million, sucks. And then you drafted defensive line in the 2nd round, the 3rd round, and the 4th round in the NFL draft. Shout out to Deion Walker, but he was the 4th round pick. Your 2nd and 3rd round guys, your day 2 picks, barely saw the field. Landon Jackson couldn't see the field, then he got hurt for the entire season. TJ Sanders, he was hurt for an extended time, and then was really a non-factor. This is gross. This is gross. Man, the Bills have signed the following wide receivers since 2024. Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Mac Hollins, Mecole Hardman, Tyrell Shavers, Laviska Shenault, Quintez Cephas, Chase Claypool, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, KJ Hamler, and Jalen Virgil. It is disgusting that we have to deal with this when 17 is the quarterback year in and year out. Utterly ridiculous, embarrassing. Since drafting Josh Allen in 2018, the Bills have drafted 56 players. And I want to give a big thank you to my guy Xavier Pond on the producer chair today, stepping up and making this live show happen for us. Ponzi, the Bills have drafted 56 players since 2018 and drafting Josh Allen. 2 of them have made a Pro Bowl, Ponzi. 2 of them. 2 of them. 2 Pro Bowlers in 7 years. And you're keeping the guy. No. You're not keeping the guy. You're promoting the guy. You're promoting Brandon Beane after that. Yep. I wish I could go 2 for 56 or something and get promoted. I wish I could go 2 for 56 or something and get promoted. That's like going 2 for 56 on Hinge and getting a wife out of it. Are you serious?
I mean, like, the Bills roster is probably like the worst roster I've ever seen in a while.
It's the worst it's been in 5 years. They were promoting the guy who built it.
And I genuinely don't know how you can just say, Brandon Beane, we think you did a good job. No sacks in elimination games. Wide receiver depth chart is what it is. I mean, I looked at that depth chart. It's a joke.
What are we doing?
Josh Allen as quarterback.
I mean, look, and when Bills fans are crying over Tyrell Shavers getting hurt, that's shit's bad. I'm not sitting here and saying Tyrell Shavers is a bad football player. By the way, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Very close to 13,000 subs here. A couple of super chats came in. We'll get to those in a moment. If you want to get your thoughts on screen, I can't get everybody's comments read here today. But if you send in a super chat, it is guaranteed to get on the show. $sign next to the chat box to contribute and get your thoughts on screen here. This is insane. So we're promoting the guy who built this roster. It's unbelievable. Shout out to my guys, Parker Hyatt, Brady O'Brien in the building, Justin Gospo in the building. This is wild, man. If you guys are sticking with the Bills through thick and thin, if you guys are sticking to the Bills with this next head coaching hire, go down below, hit the like button on today's stream. Screaming like a maniac won't change what happened. Yeah, but who cares then? What do you mean? There is a right to scream in this situation. You're promoting a guy who hasn't done anything to make this roster a competitive Super Bowl contender.
I mean, he thought Keon Coleman was a first-round pick.
Keon Coleman was traded down for with the Kansas City Chiefs. They drafted Xavier Worthy, who isn't a superstar Ponzi by any means, but guess what? He helped beat you in the AFC title game last year. For what reason is there not to scream about this? My goodness. Couple of super chats coming in. Shout out to my guys sending them in as I zoom out because I can't read them from the screen here. It is
I can read it
tough
for
to
you if
read.
you
Shout out
want
to
me
Christian. And who's this with? Is this Christian or Jerome?
Jerome. This
Jerome.
Is Christian.
Jerome, how the hell does Beane get a promotion out of this?
This is Christian.
Oh,
Sorry.
Christian. Hi to everyone from a Green Bay Packers fan in Germany. Who would be the next perfect Bills head coach? I don't think there is one out there right now. That's why I think this is even more of a wild firing here of McDermott, is because the pool isn't that crazy.
I understand you don't want a lame duck head coach, but like at the same time, like the top names, Clint Kubiak, it's just not there. Or Clay Kubiak, sorry. I mean, like it's not there. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of rumblings about Brian Dable.
Brian Dable got fired from the Giants, and I'm not going to sit here and act like Josh doesn't love him. They don't have a great relationship. He wasn't instrumental in Josh being the player that he is today. But man, is that where we're at right now? We're firing Sean McDermott for Brian Dable. That feels like a middle schooler fans move.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. I feel like the coaching pool is not that good. Mike Tomlin's a name. You're gonna have to trade for him, and apparently he doesn't even want to be coaching next year.
I know. So you're gonna have to trade a first and second round pick
for a guy
for Mike Tomlin, a guy who doesn't even want to coach this year. And I mean, I feel like Bills fans would revolt if Mike Tomlin was the head coach. I know he's won a Super Bowl before,
but he
and
hasn't had the playoff success.
Yeah, that might be something that the Bills ownership is looking at here, and Brandon Beane is looking at because he's leading the goddamn search. Is looking at here, but man, that is embarrassing. I think this is a bad decision by the Buffalo Bills in this head coaching cycle. You don't have a bona fide top offensive mind here. Is it going to be Clint Kubiak? Are they going to give Joe Brady a look at head coach? I don't know. I don't know who the perfect Bills head coach would be because the crap out there right now isn't too inspiring.
The top names: Chris Shula, defensive guy.
Yep, Chris Shula, defensive guy. Jeff Hafley, defensive guy. In terms of names like Joe Brady, you could promote, but the Bills fans have yelled at him enough this year. I don't know how happy they'd be about that. What else do we have here? I got a couple names. Mike McCarthy. When the Bills interview, you know that interview's coming. You know the Bills are going to interview Mike McCarthy. They absolutely are. Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins. Are they going to do that? I don't know, but we will see. Shout out to my guy Christian there for getting in a super chat. Jerome coming in with a $5 super chat. How the hell does Beane get a promotion out of this? Who effed up our salary cap and no results? Again, BS. You're totally right, man. Yeah. You're totally right. The Bills right now are like $3 million. They're projected to be $3 million over the cap. They have pending free agents that are starters, and it's not even like there's that many of them, but they are starters here, as I believe I have a bookmark of that as well.
Yeah, so they're projected to be negative in the cap.
Yeah, projected to be negative. They're projected to be over the cap, so they're going to have to not only financially do some gymnastics to open up some money to even sign back their own guys, but to make any improvements to this roster, they're going to be marginal. You're not seeing a big splash free agent signing this offseason. I can't believe this. I was going to do a perfect offseason video at some point this week, and my number one thing was going to be fire Brandon Beane. And now it's not going to happen. No. Promote Brandon Beane.
Yeah, promote Brandon Beane, I guess.
Promote him. Bills pending free agents when they're set to be $3 million over the cap. David Edwards, starting left guard. Connor McGovern, starting center. Matt Milano, starting linebacker. Shaq Thompson, starting linebacker down the stretch of the season. Joey Bosa, starting edge. AJ Epinesa, rotational edge, played a lot of snaps. Larry Ogunjobi basically didn't play. That's a terrorist of Bills football right there. Oh my God, Jerome, I'm as frustrated as you, man. 106 people watching, 40 likes. Go down below, hit the like button if you haven't yet. Wow.
I mean, it's just one of those things too, where you're like, not only is it not a good head coaching candidates out there, but at this time, you could say the officiating really did not help out the Bills at all, which it didn't. But at the same time, if you're not going to get better with a head coach, why move on from your current one?
I know. I feel like unless they take a huge swing here, which is a massive, massive risk, let's take a huge swing in that regard. I feel like Bills fans are going to call this a lateral move no matter what happens, unless it's a Clint Kubiak or a Nate Scheelhaus, a young gun offensive guy that's never been a head coach before.
I get, I think, on paper, I think the Bills would be the best head coaching opening now.
They are, but then you factor that in. Obviously, they have the quarterback, which is like as good as it gets. But their cap situation is so brutal. They don't have priority draft selections. They're going to be picking 26th in the NFL draft this upcoming year. So what would you say there?
I would say they have a lot of holes.
And they have holes in the roster. So you have to fix holes in the roster with no money. You have to re-sign free agents. You have to draft right, which Brandon Beane hasn't done recently. Think about the first overall pick, because the Bills don't have a first-round pick a lot of the time. Brandon Beane loves to trade down and get more assets. Shut the hell up. But think about the first picks the Bills have taken over the last few years. Maxwell Harrison, did he play yesterday or Saturday against Denver? No, he did not. Keon Coleman, he had a touchdown against Denver. 1 catch in the game. He was healthy scratch. Benched him 4 times, by the way. That would have been taken back the one he dropped in the end zone, but still he dropped it. 4 times he was benched this season, healthy scratch. Dalton Kincaid, he was out there. He had a great game. But the Bills could have been the number 1 overall seed if he was healthy in the regular season. That's been a trend in his career so far.
Is Dalton Kincaid the best pick they've made in the first round in like 4 years?
In 6 years, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's the best pick, and he plays half the season every year. So there's him. There's Kyer Elam is next. Yep. I don't even have to say anything more
need to talk about
Kyer fucking Elam. Greg Rousseau, he's proved to not be a top edge rusher in this league. $20 million extension a year, and he's proved to not be a top edge rusher in this league. And then before that, I believe, was Ed Oliver. And guess what? He didn't play the second half against Denver. Got hurt. Was out the entire season.
And, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ed Oliver's been great when he's out there, but, like...
He gets hurt too much.
Yeah.
He just gets hurt too much.
I mean...
Brian LaRue, shout out to you for being in the building. Brady O'Brien, just throwing nonsense in my chat right now. Would love a Bills question from you there, Brad. Thoughts on Santa Lima being the next head coach? Oh, my God, man. Vote Steve Tasker as head coach? Yeah, it's... That would certainly be a very Billsy move. What's up, Smitty? I don't know what to think at this point. I don't know either, man. 5 out of the 8 times Josh Allen has lost the game. I don't think that's true.
I mean, like, yeah, I get it. He had the turnovers, but, like, also, I feel like, Josh Allen does have, like, a little bit of a hero complex where he feels like he needs to make a play.
He has to. Why do you think that is, Ponzi?
Because he has to.
The team stinks!
Like, you look at what he's working with at wide receiver, it's genuinely amazing that they even made the playoffs with this roster.
Yes!
Mahomes with a worse roster than the Bills, you saw how they played this year.
If you take Josh and you put an average quarterback on this team, so what's the average quarterback in this league?
Like Mitchell
Trubisky. He's at least below average. Who's like Jared Goff?
Yeah.
Jared Goff on the Bills. You're winning 3 games. You're winning 4 or 5 games, man.
I mean, it's just incredible, what Josh Allen has had to work with here. And I know that's more of an excuse. We don't want to turn him into if-man, but, like, he still has won in the playoffs.
Saw Jordan Phillips put on his Instagram story. This is bullshit. Yeah, I think McDermott might be getting scapegoated here. So, you know who's making sense about it? You know who just said that? That made me repeat it? Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith says he's being scapegoated. Stephen A. Smith making sense on an NFL show for the first time in his life.
I mean, Stephen A. Smith speaking truth. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Taron Johnson, SMH on his Instagram story. Seems like Bills players didn't know about this. Seems like Bills players had no idea this was going down.
And, like, I wonder if they even talked to Josh about it.
That makes me think, like, I feel like Josh would have been in McDermott's camp. I think Josh would have said,
and that's a great move to make. You're pissed off your franchise QB by not even contacting him about a decision that's super vital to the team.
I can't believe this.
Like, I understand. Like, I get it. If time has run its course, Sean McDermott has consistently underwhelmed in the playoffs. Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't sit here and say, okay, who's better out there, and then go like, okay, well, we'll fire him maybe for a shot at Kubiak.
Yeah.
Who won't be highly sought after. And who knows? Like, the Ravens are out there. They have a much more set roster.
Yeah, the Ravens have a better roster than the Bills. Now, they don't have a better quarterback than the Bills, and we've seen that time and time again. Josh beats Lamar. But
I think they have a better roster than them just based off, the spot the Bills have put themselves in.
Brady's saying Gruden. I'm telling you right now, John Gruden is a terrible, terrible head coaching candidate.
He hasn't been in the league in, 5 years?
Hasn't been in the league in 5 years. He's never really been that great of a head coach. He won the Super Bowl 25 years ago.
With Tony Dungy.
We're not doing a gimmick head coach. You can't get this. You cannot get this hire wrong. And the chances of John Gruden being the wrong hire are higher than the chances of it being the right hire. It's not even close.
I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like Gruden's a popular name because he's out there in content, but like, I mean, he's been out of the league for 5 years, and it's not like he was great in Las Vegas.
No, he wasn't good. The team stunk. He's an offensive head coach with like the 25th ranked offense in the league. Terrible.
Offensive-minded head coach.
He's not good. He's not good.
I genuinely do not know who they hire.
We couldn't just run it back. I think you could have ran it back, but fired Brandon Beane. They did the opposite. They did the total opposite, man. This is utterly ridiculous. Look, 17 didn't perform on Saturday, but I don't think you could have blamed much on on Sean McDermott this time around. He was excellent disguising coverages and making things difficult for both Trevor Lawrence and Bo Nix at times. I considering the injuries that he had, and he had Jordan Poyer come off the couch at 35 and perform at a high level. I mean, he was putting guys who were jobless 6 weeks ago in starting positions, and they were balling. Trey White having an all-pro type of season.
Like, I don't get it from a pure, like, a football move. I get, like, you want to always get better. You know, you're tired of mediocrity, definition of insanity, all that. But, like, from a pure football move, you look at the roster he's worked with, and it's not a good roster.
It's not that good, man, and he's constantly having them overperform.
With injuries,
Dable and Brady, according to Peter Schrager, are the obvious names to watch in Buffalo, but a third one that is worth circling, Broncos offensive coordinator Davis Webb, who was Josh Allen's teammate for 3 years in Buffalo, a 30-year-old that has been on Sean Payton's hip for the last 3 years. Webb has already met with Las Vegas and the Baltimore Ravens for their head coaching job.
You know, it kind of seems like Webb is like that up-and-comer guy, but, like, do you really want to take a risk?
It's a risk. It's a risk. Yeah. Schrager also saying, not sure if this is a dynamic they'd want, but here's a quote from Davis Webb a year ago. I love Buffalo. It's my favorite place I've ever played. My best friend is the starting quarterback over there.
I mean, it would make
he's
sense.
He's like a year older than Josh. He's not even like it's that'd be wild to me.
I think they were like playing in college almost at the same time.
They probably were. They're a year apart. They probably were playing in college at the same time. I can't believe this. 116 people watching. We just passed 50 likes. We're 12 subscribers away from 13,000. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Who's worse in the clutch, 17 or Mark Schmidt? I gotta say it's Mark Schmidt by a lot, but 17, he did not clutch up this week at all. Who's the head coach now? Nobody. Nobody's the interim head coach because they're not playing football.
Yeah.
Cyber the Werewolf saying Davis Webb would be good. Michael LaFleur is a name out there. He doesn't call plays in Los Angeles. If I'm hiring anybody from the Rams, I'm going after Nate Shieldhouse, their wonderkind 35-year-old pass game coordinator is who I would go after there. He's a name that has been circled around as very impressive. Beane drafted McDermott picks and Allen's receiver Keon. Josh wanted him. Maybe Beane wasn't the problem. Dude, it's beyond just that one selection of Keon Coleman. Look at the cap allocations that Brandon Beane has given this team over the last few years. Look at the mismanagement of resources along the defensive line. Look at the mismanagement of resources at the wide receiver position. As a matter of fact, at the cornerback position too, the reason the Bills could not draft Luther Burden in the first round this past year is because they missed on Kyer Elam in the draft a few years ago in the first round, so they had to draft another boundary cornerback in the first round this season. They could have used that pick on a weapon, but since they missed a few years ago in the draft, they had to draft another one this year. So it's Brandon Beane's fault at the end of the day. This is Brandon Beane. What about Brian Flores? I don't hate it, but oh man, I don't know what the Bills' goal of hiring a head coach is here. Is it somebody who is a defensive mind and you want to get the hotshot coordinator? Is it somebody where they've won a Super Bowl already? There's only less than a handful of names out there right now that are available as Super Bowl winning head coaches. Mike Tomlin and Mike McCarthy are like the only two out there. So there is not a lot to work off of here. I appreciate there, Steven. I want to get as many thoughts out as possible to paint the best picture of this situation. Sean McDermott has been fired by the Buffalo Bills as head coach. I'm shocked by the decision. Bills players are shocked by the decision, and here we are now. Here we are. Sean McDermott would have been fired. This in cities with a higher standard. But who do we get to replace him? Argument is typical small-time Buffalo thinking. As for Beane, he should also be on a short leash, but he'll no longer work with a head coach who has more power. I don't think either one of them. I mean, maybe you could say that Sean McDermott had more power than Brandon Beane. Is that the issue here? Was there a bit of a power struggle going on? I know Ponzi referenced that to me before we went live here on the show today. But Sean McDermott out as a Bills head coach. Still reading more tweets and gathering more information here. Sean McDermott's a good guy, man. And he wanted it. You could see it in the post-game press conference this past weekend. Sean McDermott went to battle for his Buffalo Bills. And maybe he knew his job was potentially at stake there and just left it all on the table in terms of going at the officials about that call with Brandon Cooks and Jaquan McMillan on that interception. He went at the officials. He said that that's always been a catch. That's something that he was so mad that they didn't even get a review about, and was just going off on officiating in that game. Maybe he knew that he was in the chopping block if he lost that one or lost it in the fashion that he did. But the fact that I saw that this was a rumbling over a few weeks. It's interesting. It's absolutely interesting. Our best hope is that McDermott was handcuffing Beane. Dear Lord, we are all the way fucked. That's what the Cover One guys over at Air Raid Buffalo said. Yeah. The only hope that we have now is that McDermott was handcuffing Brandon Beane, that he was overstepping and contributing to this team in a negative manner. And I don't think that was the case. I don't think that was the case at all. Man, I don't know where to go from here. Where do we go in terms of Sean McDermott replacements? Yeah. So this guy has tweeted out, people who thought the Bills were wasting time, or Josh Allen's time with McDermott, are going to find out real quick what wasting time actually looks like. And I think it's interesting because the Bills make this firing in the middle of the playoffs after 2 head coaching vacancies are already filled. They join a crop of 10 other jobs that are open at this point. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely, absolutely crazy. So the Bills fire Sean McDermott after the quarterback had 4 turnovers. The defense held Denver to 29 total yards in the second half before that final drive. And the roster's filled with street free agents, and backups. And he gets fired over it. This is a massive mistake. Yeah. And that's the thing. You would think this Bills head coaching opening is an attractive job. I don't think it is. Brandon Beane's a bad GM. Brandon Beane woke up with a job today. No. He woke up with a promotion today. And whatever head coach is walking into this situation, guess what? You answer to Brandon Beane. You answer to a guy who went out and drafted Keon Coleman. Who went out and drafted Kyer Elam. I'm appalled at this decision, man. I am appalled. But gotta move on. Gotta go get a new head coach. Very interesting. Any comment on the rumor you're coming to Buffalo in 2 weeks? There's no those rumors are being shot down. I will not be in Buffalo in 2 weeks, unfortunately. If you need Smitty to be head coach, it's the only way I'm getting up there. Smitty for head coach is the only way I'm getting up there. It's not an attractive job. It is for the sole fact of 17 and the opportunity to coach 17, but no cap space, bad drafter at GM, and now you have to answer that GM. Oh, and that general manager also will not help you if you want to make a trade for a wide receiver at the deadline. He won't help you. He won't. No. He'll actually say, no, our 2027 first-round pick is going to help us a lot in the 2026 playoffs, so we can't trade for Jalen Waddle. It is embarrassing. Embarrassing. Are there any young Buck head coach possibilities? Yes, a few. Nate Scheelhaus over in Los Angeles with the Rams, their pass game coordinator. A lot of buzz around his name. People think he's a very impressive candidate, so he's out there. Davis Webb is 30. He was on the Buffalo Bills with Josh. He's called him his best friend. Said Buffalo's my favorite place I've ever played. So he's a name out there. You could argue, yeah. I mean, look, Dexter, you could argue that Josh Allen got Sean McDermott fired this weekend. You could argue it. Who do you think is the best fit for Hill Bills head coach? I don't know, man. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this firing and the promotion of Brandon Beane. Pedestrian postseason. The people going at Josh right now are out of their minds. The people going at Josh right now are legit batshit crazy. I'm not in the camp of that at all. Problem with Davis Webb is on the Broncos payroll and they have infinite money to pay what they want. I mean, they don't need him. They have Sean Payton. Sean Payton's the type of coach who churns coordinators. He gets them better jobs. Sure. For some what? Replacements? Cool. If you can get a Davis Webb one too, I didn't have him in that list logo for Sam. Maybe Mike Tomlin. Just because you have to trade for him. I don't think that's smart at all. It might be pass game coordinator. Hold on. He is pass game coordinator and QB coach. So just do PGS or PGC. The idea of just building a run game that will protect Josh Allen in the regular season needs to be killed. They just had the number one rushing offense in the league and a top 5 offensive line, and he got beat up. Most sacks taken in his career. You need more than a run game. And then it says we don't need to diminish the value of the run game to make a point about needing to get better at wide receiver. It's obvious the run game is a massive help. It's obvious the wide receiver talent was nowhere near where it needed to be. Both things can be true. You can and should have both things. I agree. Misevaluations at wide receiver. Curtis Samuel, Josh Palmer, Keon Coleman have all been massive misses, and that's why you don't win a Super Bowl. And when your only hits are Brandon Cooks and Tyrell Shavers, who you kind of fumbled your way into, that's an issue. People who thought the Bills, yeah. I mean, this sucks, man. Yeah, Sean McDermott in that post-game presser said, "I'm standing up for Buffalo, damn it." And he gets fired on his way out. That's pretty legendary. Pretty baller way to go out. Wow. Who's Trent Baalke? He's the GM of the Jags, yeah. Yeah, because didn't he get shoved out because of Liam Cohen? Cohen didn't want him. That's crazy. So you could run into that same situation this time around. What head coaching candidate, especially if you hire one with Super Bowl experience, wants to go answer to Brandon Beane? You think, yeah, maybe a guy with leverage like Clint Kubiak could leverage his way into making Brandon Beane out as GM. Yeah. Harbaugh could have made it happen, but he's gone. Eric Wood showing love. Former Bills center showing love to Sean McDermott on Twitter. I am still a bit surprised and shocked by all this. Wade Phillips saying, "I was very surprised the Bills fired their head coach." The fire McDermott crowd has been loud for years. Once he finally gets let go, so much of the reaction is that Brandon Beane was more responsible for how this Bills season play out. What a turn. Yeah. On replacements, I'm not sure. This is as powerful as Brandon Beane's ever been. This is not good, man. I mean, I wonder. The grass ain't always greener. The grass ain't always greener. I want to see how this Bills team performs with the new head coach. The whole scouting section should be overhauled. I don't hate that. I don't hate that idea. Game manager, head coach, McDaniel, OC, and a massive DC signing. I don't know, man. No chance to get a college head coach up here. I mean, could you get Dan Lanning in the building? Could you get Dan Lanning to come say no? It's risky, but he's CEO. Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to nail coordinator. You have to nail both coordinators if you get a guy like Dan Lanning. Is it Prize Picks? Okay. Yeah, you can make one. It doesn't matter. Why do you think Brandon Beane didn't get fired? Because I think he walked into Terry Pegula's office and said, I got this. New script? Oh, no. I'll get that open. Okay, I have it now. Oh, man. So we are going to get into a Sean McDermott replacements video soon here. What kind of graphs do we have for that? Because there should be... Okay. Okay. There... Let's see here. Yeah, there's and I know there's a head coach like graphics sheet, right? Have you guys used that on Steelers? There should be like player cards and stuff made for all these coaching stuff. Here we go. 2026 coaching carousel or coaching candidates master graphics template. I'm not doing Cliff Kingsbury. We're not doing that. Mike McDaniel's got some listicles in there. Davis Webb's got a head coach candidate player card in there. Okay, player cards is cool. Kubiak's in there, Joe Brady. I mean, Grant Udinski's in there too. I mean, we could just throw a bunch of names. It doesn't have to be super organized. We got a list logo of some stuff. Yeah, Mike McCarthy and Brian Dable have ones in there. Chris Shula. Oh, man. This is nuts. His boot. Big Cam, you said? No, we don't have Udinski in there. Honestly, yeah. I'd rather keep Shieldhouse on there, actually. That's fine, the ones we have. If you want to grab some photos of some other guys, or like we could throw them up after. I gotta say those are like my top 8, and then we can go through some other names too. Cool. Stay tuned, guys. I'm putting together a video for Sean McDermott replacements as Buffalo Bills head coach, as the Bills have moved on from McDermott after 9 seasons. 100 people still watching. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We're almost at our next milestone of 13,000 subs here on the channel. What do you guys think? Who would you name as the Bills' next head coach? Comment down below. Who do you want as the Bills' next head coach? As we get some graphics here ready to go for Sean McDermott replacements. Shout out to my guy Ponzi doing all the work behind the scenes. He's killing it. Brian Dable from Brady Who Sung. You want me, Brickstarian football? I'm in. I'll take it. Eberflus is cheap, just like Beane wants to pay. Yeah, I'd maybe have to destroy the channel if Matt Eberflus was hired as head coach. Mike Vrabel or Clint? I'm not doing Clint Kingsbury, bro. No, he's not a leader. Mike Vrabel's already also the head coach of the Patriots. Think he's leaving? McDaniel made Tua look like an MVP and had a great run game when they ran it. Yeah? What about Pete Carroll? Absolutely not. Guys, Pete Carroll? There's names out there. We got to come up with better names than this. Cliff Kingsbury will not be the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. If he is, that's an issue. Would we re-sign McDermott? What are we talking about? Guys, be better. Is it realistic for the Bills to trade for A.J. Brown or sign Mike Evans? No. Mike Tomlin, I mean, you have to trade for him. He's still under contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers for another year. Or maybe multiple years. You have to trade for him. 2 years on his contract. Imagine this, Jeff Hafley. I mean, a defensive coordinator that's never been a head coach. To come be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. They just did that. That'd be a retread. That'd be a Sean McDermott retread. Oh, not Kingsbury. Clint Kubiak, you're saying there, Mike Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, look, Clint Kubiak seems like a name that is the top of people's list. Brian Dable's out there. Bills' offense under Dable was great. This is a lot, man. This is a lot. This is just unbelievable. Cannot believe the Bills fired Sean McDermott this morning. I was under the complete impression. Daquan Jones saying don't make sense, but you got what you wanted on his Instagram story. The show that's unplanned till McDermott gets canned. Bills player said, I'm shook. It was a power struggle between Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott as we really had this unfold the way that it did. Yeah, if you could template out like a soft script just so I know where we're going, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much, man. So we're gonna get into Sean McDermott replacements video here very soon. Been live for 50 minutes already. Probably be live for, I don't know, maybe a half hour more. Talk about these replacements. We'll get to some more super chats if you guys want to send one in. If you guys want to get your thoughts up on screen, we can't answer every single comment. So if you want to get your thoughts on screen, we can put them up. $sign next to the chat box to contribute and send in a super chat today. And if you want to get your take on who the Bills head coach should be, your reaction to McDermott getting fired, you can do all that stuff by sending in a super chat. You get your name, your message, your avatar popped up on screen right here. Every super chat is guaranteed to be shown on the show. Yes, he should have been fired, but why keep the GM? Yeah, it's the same thoughts I have there, Blue Filter Man. Will Joe Brady be picked up? He's being heavily looked at by other organizations. Baltimore is looking at Joe Brady for their head coaching vacancy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Will Joe Brady be picked up? He may be. He may be. I think you should bring back McDermott. So, yeah. I don't know. Should have been Beane. It should have been Beane, Noah. There's a long road ahead, Bills fans. There's a long road ahead. I mean, league rules prevent the Bills from interviewing candidates on playoff teams. So they can't speak with candidates from the Super Bowl teams until after February 8th. That puts candidates like Clint Kubiak, Davis Webb, Chris Shula, Michael Fleur, Vance Joseph, and Nate Shieldhouse off the table for now, and possibly into February if their teams advance. What a disaster. What a disaster. This is not going to end anytime soon. I'm very shocked, folks. Any offensive-minded head coach that will help Josh Allen? I mean, I don't think Mike McDaniel's gonna be the head coach of this football team. Is that who they're gonna target now? They can't talk to any of the ones remaining in the playoffs. Mike McCarthy's not under any contracts right now. I'm sure they'll get interviews set up with him. Sure they'll get interviews set up with Mike McDaniel. I'm sure they'll get interviews set up with literally everybody that is out there right now. Because I'm sure the guys they really want or are looking at are in the postseason currently. Aaron Quinn saying, my best guess in this coup is that they promote Joe Brady to head coach, Terrence Gray to GM, and bring back Davis Webb for OC. That would be a disaster. Cool. Thank you. Oh, man. Sean McDermott fired by the Buffalo Bills. I am shocked. Who do you guys want to be the next Bills head coach? Kyle Lobo coming in with a super chat. Appreciate that, bro. What about Kirby Smart? Could you imagine? Rams OC's Michael LaFleur, Mariah. What's up? Yeah. And you McDermott spelled wrong. All right. Yeah, you're good there. This is crazy, bro. I think it's most likely one of a Joe Brady or a Brian Dable Davis Webb combo action. Yeah, I mean, why not go take the Seahawks, guys? Go get Clint Kubiak to be your head coach and go get Aiden Dirty to be the defensive coordinator. He's the DC in Seattle right now, but he doesn't exactly call the defense. That's Mike McDonald's stuff, and Dirty would be good. The Seattle Seahawks make good hires. They sign good players. They draft good players. You should probably take some of what they have going on over there. There's a reason that they're in the Super Bowl after winning one and appearing in two a decade later. Teams don't usually run the Super Bowl back 10 years later with an entirely new coaching staff and roster and nucleus. There's nobody a part of that former Seahawks Super Bowl winning team that is a part of this team now. And they still yet somehow flipped everything on its head 180 before the Bills could even reach one. Oh my goodness. This is just crazy to me. Yeah, wow. A lot of people are listening to WGR right now. I'm not surprised. Oh, great. Yeah, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people live about this right now on YouTube. My goodness. I mean, Josh Allen needs a new head coach. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, this is crazy. Kyle Lobo, did we get his super chat up? McDermott didn't want like a huge contract, I'm guessing, either. Shout out to Kyle Lobo. Says, why promote Brandon Beane? I have no earthly idea, Kyle Lobo. No earthly idea. What happens to Joe Brady if they get an offensive-minded head coach? He would be gone. Brian Webster saying, can you put on the screen who the free agents for the Bills? I have him in a tweet. Don't worry about it. I have him in a tweet here. The Bills' free agents are David Edwards, your starting left guard, Connor McGovern, your starting center, Matt Milano and Shaq Thompson, both your starting linebackers at the conclusion of the season. Terrell Bernard obviously got an extension, so he'll be back in that spot. Joey Bosa, your starting edge, AJ Epinesa, your rotational edge, and then Larry Ogunjobi, a player that didn't do anything for this Buffalo Bills team. We are one subscriber away, though, from 13,000 here on the channel, so hit that subscribe button if you want free Bills content all the time. If you want to be tapped in with this Bills head coaching search like nobody else on YouTube, we're going to have every single interview clocked for you on the channel. We're going to have every single request to interview clocked here on the channel. And when the Bills hire that head coach, we're going to go live here once again on the show. 13,000 subs. Thank you guys so much for hitting that subscribe button and help growing this channel, man. A huge offseason on the horizon. New stadium opening up next year. And now they need to go out there and find a new leader at the head coach spot. Somebody who's going to answer to Brandon Beane, who's got a promotion from GM to GM/president of football ops and will lead everything with this franchise. Awesome. And I say that very sarcastically if you're just joining us here. Brandon Beane being kept on and promoted is a disaster. It's a disaster. Man. Not fun at all, folks. And you can't speak to, any of the current coordinators that are working in the postseason at this point. Out of that list, who do I think would be brought back? I would like to obviously re-sign the two offensive linemen, Edwards and McGovern. And then maybe some team-friendly deals for Matt Milano and Shaq Thompson. Thompson might have played himself into some money here, but Matt Milano, with all the injuries that he's had, I would consider him taking a team-friendly deal. He's only been in Buffalo during his career. Does he really want to go somewhere else? I don't know. Maybe if somebody pays him, but I doubt that. Everybody else can go as I'm spilling water. Cool. Let's see here. Perfect. Yep. Oh, is Davis Webb in the logo now? Yeah. Okay. Who do we replaced him with Tomlin? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we don't need Udinsky for now. I don't think they're gonna go with Udinsky. We have him. Do we have anybody? Is there any I mean, you could just send me full screen at the end as well, and I can say like, there's names, those other names out there like Mike Tomlin. You have to trade for him. Yeah, let's get a couple photos of. Let's just look at a couple of names here in our coaching consolidated list. Tomlin and Udinski, yeah. Maybe Michael LaFleur as well. That'd be nice. Yeah. Other names to watch. Yeah, maybe just do a list 5 logo of other names to watch. Mike LaFleur, Grant Udinski, Jesse Minter, Jeff Halfley, Mike Tomlin. It's okay. You could just do team logos for that if that's easier too. Mike Tomlin, Mike LaFleur, he's OC for the Rams. Grant Udinski. And then Jesse Minter and Jeff Halfley. As of right now, per some odds, the Bills' next head coach favorite is Mike McDaniel. I doubt that. I think Joe Brady's Mike Tomlin plus 350. Dude, these are terrible odds. Oh, you got that list 4 logo of Mike McDaniel with Miami. I appreciate that. Dope. Appreciate that, man. Almost about to get into Sean McDermott replacements here on the show. So tune in. Make sure you're tuned in for that. There's another super chat came in from Kyle Lobo. Shout out to my guy. Noah, I appreciate you for appreciating the energy, man. Shout out to Lobo, saying this is so wrong. Brandon Beane is messed up. Stephen A. has said Sean has been scapegoated like Sean delivered with the crappiest roster in the AFC. Yeah, in the AFC playoffs. Yeah, I agree. The Bills had the worst roster in the AFC playoffs. Yes, I think you're good there. Dope. Yes. That's a good idea. Cool. Dope. Yeah, great job on that. 100 people still watching, 74 likes. If you haven't yet, hit that like button on today's live stream. We're reacting to Sean McDermott being fired. If you want your question or your take on the firing or a potential new head coach to be up here on the show like my guy Kyle Lobo, you can send one in, $ next to the chat box to contribute to today's live stream. What's going on? Oh, I saw everybody's reaction. He just said, yep, stupid, and the best coach I've ever been around. Dude, so people were saying, you got what you wanted. Thank you. Could you fill that up, actually? Thank you, brother. Yeah, so Bills players are saying SMH, WTF, like, I'm shook, like, this, like, nobody know. Peace and love. We don't even. I mean, yeah, we can do that too. I say we didn't even need to do the if we're gonna cut it out of the live. Alrighty. Alrighty. Damar Hamlin tweeting out heartbreak emojis. 'Cause he knows his ass is gone. That's true. Alrighty. With that being said, we are going to talk about some head coaching replacements for Sean McDermott here in just a moment. No, didn't break it. Didn't break it. Is the straw in there still? All right, let me grab it. Thanks, Beast. Sam Brown got a lot of stuff done behind the scenes too. Big shout out to him. The show's not possible without him. Okay. Huh? Okay. Alrighty. Without further ado, we are going to get into some Sean McDermott replacements here on the program. Let's talk about it. The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott after 9 seasons and are now on the search for their next leader who will answer to general manager Brandon Beane, who's been promoted to president of football operations. Beane will lead the search. So on today's show, I'm going to tell you my top candidates for the Buffalo Bills head coaching position for 2026 and beyond. With that being said, the search is on, and we're going to have you guys covered like nobody else on YouTube here at the Bills Breakdown. Make sure you are subscribed for updates on the Bills head coaching search. We just passed 13,000 subs here on the channel. Your one-stop shop for Bills news and rumors this offseason is right here at the Bills Breakdown. So go down below, hit that subscribe button, and turn your notifications on so you know exactly when there's updates around this Bills head coaching search. All right, man. Number 1 on Sean McDermott replacements list. Not number 1 as in we should hire him number 1, but the first one we're talking about today is a familiar name. Brian Daboll, the former head coach of the New York Giants and also the former offensive coordinator of your Buffalo Bills. Somebody who many believe is a big-time mentor to Josh Allen. Somebody instrumental into him being the quarterback and becoming the quarterback that he has become. Daboll ends up getting fired by the Giants after going 20-40-1. It was not a great stretch there for Brian Daboll's first head coaching opportunity in this league, but he was handed a pretty rough, draw there with the New York Giants, having to win a playoff game with Daniel Jones. That's an accomplishment in itself. And then, the general manager ends up extending him for $100 million, and then he's stuck with Daniel Jones over the following 2 seasons. Then ends up taking his guy in Jackson Dart and shows some promise, but the Giants were losing games and they didn't have really more time to wait this Daboll process out, so they went out and fired him. Some people could call him a scapegoat, but Brian Daboll now in the in the coaching pool as a potential head coach or offensive coordinator name out there. He was rumored to be interested in the Penn State job before that was they hired Matt Campbell there from Iowa State. Now, the reason we bring up Brian Daboll first on today's show is that Diana Rossini came out with this tweet pretty close to Sean McDermott's announcement of being fired, talking to NFL executives around the league about Buffalo's next head coaching options. The name that keeps coming up is a familiar one, Brian Daboll, a Buffalo native and someone who Josh Allen loves. If the Bills are going to be catering to Josh Allen here and with the situation they're in right now, not able to interview coaches who are currently coordinating in the playoffs still, then if they have something in mind here in terms of where they want to go with their head coach, Brian Daboll could be one of those guys that they have their sights set on. But if they don't go with Daboll, then maybe they end up promoting Joe Brady. And I know, these 2 names off the rip, maybe not the most inspiring or celebration-inducing names out there. We've had our criticisms of Joe Brady in the past this season with the Buffalo Bills, but if they want to keep things in-house, if this is somebody that is going to answer to Brandon Beane now, because that's going to be the case. Brandon Beane being promoted to president of football operations. Terry Pegula said that he's overseeing the coaching staff. The coaching staff answers to him now. that maybe the Joe Brady would be a guy that they go after here. The Bills offensive coordinator since 2024, and he was the interim OC in 2023 after they fired Ken Dorsey. And he was a former Panthers offense coordinator, the LSU pass game coordinator with Joe Burrow back in 2019. 36 years old. Josh Allen likes him, and he said that he has been awesome for my career. So could they go with a guy like Joe Brady here, who we've had issues with this season in terms of situational play calling and aggressiveness and what have you? I don't know, but the Bills' offense certainly looked better after the firing of Ken Dorsey and with Joe Brady running the show. This could be something that Brandon Beane sees as a move to keep power. Because I really believe that Sean McDermott losing his head coaching job here was due to a power struggle between him and Brandon Beane, the general manager. Both of them operating at the same level of power. If not, you could argue Sean McDermott had a little bit more power and voice than Brandon Beane here. So with that being the case, they move on from McDermott. If Beane wants somebody who he thinks he can control, I think Joe Brady would be a name that's at the top of that list. But at the top of my list personally to go out there and hire for the Bills head coaching job, look no further than Clint Kubiak, who is taking that Seattle Seahawks offense led by Sam Darnold on to the next level. He is in the NFC Championship at this point. He has had the offense put up 41 points on the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round. And he's the hottest offensive head coaching name in this cycle. If the Bills want to take a massive swing and go and shoot for the stars on this offensive head coach, then look past Brian Daboll. Look past Joe Brady. Go be done with the retreads and go after Clint Kubiak, the hottest offensive name in the books right now, the current offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. He was the 2021 Vikings offensive coordinator. He's the 2024 Saints offensive coordinator. So he's been around the block as an OC, finally calling plays over the last few seasons in New Orleans and in Seattle. He seems ready to take on this job. He's a part of a big-time football family in the Kubiaks. He was the son of former Super Bowl winning head coach Gary Kubiak, and that was also a move that the Broncos had to make to get over the hump with Peyton Manning. They had to fire John Fox and bring in Gary Kubiak to get over the hump here. Could it be the same thing hiring Clint? He's 38 years old. He's got Shanahan ties, and if you bring him in here as a 38-year-old with Josh Allen at quarterback, this could be your Bills head coach for the next decade plus up in Buffalo. Another hot name that is certain to be in Bills head coaching conversations is Davis Webb, who's the pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach over with the Denver Broncos, the guys who you just beat. But what's interesting about these two names here is, like I said, the Bills cannot interview either one of them until they are eliminated from the postseason. So if somehow, some way, Jarrett Stidham goes out there and wins a playoff game here in the AFC Championship against Drake May and the Patriots, I would probably have to think about hiring Davis Webb if he goes out there and does that. You wouldn't be able to talk to him until after the Super Bowl. Same goes with Clint Kubiak. If he wins the NFC Championship against the Los Angeles Rams, you can't talk to him until after the Super Bowl. So I don't know what the situation is here with the Bills. Do they have something in mind already with one of these two guys, or are they willing to wait on one of these two young Thundercats that are running around calling some of the league's best offenses? If Davis Webb is that name, it would be a reunion of sorts to Buffalo. He was the Bills' backup quarterback for Josh Allen a few years ago. He's only a year older than Josh, though, so that would certainly create an interesting dynamic there. He had come out and said in a quote, Peter Schrager brought it up, saying that Davis Webb said that Buffalo is the favorite place that he's ever played, and his best friend is the starting quarterback over there. So if the Bills want to do something like that, totally appease Josh, maybe since he doesn't call plays specifically in Denver, they bring Brian Daboll in to be the CEO head coach, which didn't really work out all that well in New York, but maybe they do that, bring in Davis Webb for the OC, and really just full-on cater to Josh Allen here moving forward. With that being said, what do you guys think? Do you agree with the Sean McDermott firing by the Buffalo Bills? We'll get into four short candidates here at the back half of today's show, and we'll get into some other names to watch before we wrap up. But let me know in the comment section first. Do you agree with the Bills firing McDermott? Why for yes and for no? Comment down below your thoughts. As we got to talk about our sponsor here on the program next, and that is Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. It's the best daily fantasy sports app in the game, where all you guys got to do is pick 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. You can win up to 2,000 times your money in one single Prize Picks lineup, and they're the best because they offer the best features. Like their new feature, early payouts. So if your player or your lineup gets off to a hot start, you'll now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. You can also find your community on Prize Picks with the new social feeds feature where you share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. You can copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tailor fade our picks with just one click. Like our picks for the National Championship coming up on Monday night. Carson Beck, more than 29.5 pass attempts. Malachi Toney, the freshman, more than 5.5 receptions. And then Omar Cooper, big wide receiver for the Indiana Hoosiers, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. You could tail my picks or fade them. Just do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Alrighty here, man. Mike McCarthy. That's a name that we didn't necessarily think that would be on the Bills' radar, but if the Bills want to go, and I'll tell you right now, the first 4 names that we discussed on today's show are probably the most likely names that are to be brought into this Bills building. Here are some more, I would say, out there names, but I still think are fairly realistic. If the Bills want to go with a Super Bowl winning head coach, they're going to have to go with Mike McCarthy unless they want to go out there and make a trade for Mike Tomlin, which we'll talk about later. But McCarthy, I think he gets a bad rap, to be quite honest with you guys. I wouldn't be the most disappointed in this hire. If you look at John Harbaugh's stats side by side with Mike McCarthy, they're nearly identical in terms of playoff win percentage, regular season win percentage, Super Bowl champ. I mean, Mike McCarthy is a good head coach, and I think he kind of maybe got a raw deal in Dallas as well. I mean, you know the dynamics over there with Jerry Jones running the show. He's 174, 112, and 2 as an NFL head coach. That's pretty damn good. He's an offensive mind with a lot of experience. He's worked with Aaron Rodgers. He's worked with Dak Prescott, some of the best quarterbacks in football. Why wouldn't he be able to work with a big quarterback that can make every throw on the football field, just like Josh Allen? Chris Shula is another name that we'll talk about on the show here. Hot shot defensive coordinator over with the Rams, but like Denver and Seattle, the Bills cannot talk to Chris Shula until the playoffs are concluded. So with him being a hot name, he really kind of put his chips into the center of the table on Sunday night against the Chicago Bears. That may have gotten him a head coaching job here. He's also a hot name in the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching vacancy, which we know is one of the most sought-after jobs this cycle. Could the Bills potentially sway him to come be the Buffalo head coach? I think that a coordinator, especially on the defensive end that hasn't been a head coach, would just be the Bills repeating the same Sean McDermott deal over again. McDermott was the DC in Carolina for that Super Bowl, and they bring him into the fold here after having no head coaching experience before in the NFL, and now we're at the spot where we are, where 9 years or 8 years of Josh Allen's career have been wasted. Chris Shula, I like him a lot. I just think he would be probably better suited to go do another job somewhere else than what the Bills currently need at this point. Mike McDaniel. I'm not so sure if I buy into him being able to lead the locker room for the Buffalo Bills, but in terms of offensive minds out there, he's got to be in the top 3 of names that are available. In terms of how he did as the Dolphins head coach, is where he's coming from here, just fired by Miami recently. He was 9-8 in his first season, 11-6 in his second season, made the playoffs in each of those 2 years, and then 8-9 and 7-10, with Tua being straight garbage. And Tua being hurt left and right, concussion prone, injury prone. You got guys like Quinn Ewers playing quarterback out there. Things weren't good down in Miami. And you could argue that roster was put in a rough spot. Tyreek Hill's been injured. He's also commanded so much money to where they can't commit stuff elsewhere. There's holes on that defense in Miami as well. So not all of this can be blamed on Mike McDaniel. I mean, shout out to him for making Tua look like a competent quarterback for as long as he has, to be quite honest with you guys. So he calls really good offense, but can he command a locker room? Can he be a head coach that runs the whole show? I don't know if that's the move that Buffalo's wanting to make at this point. Now, a absolutely hot name that is under the radar would be a total shock stunner. Nate Shieldhouse over with the Los Angeles Rams. He's being looked at as the wonderkin option right now. He is 35 years old, no head coaching experience yet, but if there's a name that people trust out there right now, it's Sean McVay. And Nate Scheelhaase is kind of like his second in command of sorts, even over a guy, their offensive coordinator, like Mike LaFleur. The Scheelhaase stuff is very interesting, man. I want to get a little bit more information on him here before we wrap up my top candidates, because like he is one of these guys where he worked under Matt Campbell from 2018 to 2023 over at Iowa State, played quarterback at Illinois from 2011 to 2013, and he's been under Sean McVay for the last 2 seasons. It's an interesting look. It's an interesting idea to bring in a young guy like this who's never been head coach. It's a similar thing to Clint Kubiak, but Clint Kubiak has also been calling plays the last 2 seasons with 2 different teams, and he's made those offenses look pretty good either way. So Scheelhaase is a name to watch out for. I would be interested to see if they're going to wait on those guys like Kubiak and Davis Webb, that they wouldn't wait for Nate Scheelhaase either. What do you guys think? Pick your guy for me down in the comment section. Who do you want as the Bills' next head coach? Is it somebody we've named already? Is it somebody we haven't? Who do you guys got? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Now, some other quick names to watch here before we round out the program. Mike Tomlin, look, he's won a Super Bowl before. He's won a lot of football games. The playoff success hasn't been there over the last 10 years, but he's won the big one before. But he's also under contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers still for 2 more seasons. So you have to trade for him. It would be high priority draft picks because they're not going to let him walk for nothing. So I would be against doing that. This Bills roster has too many holes to be giving up draft picks to go out there and sign a head coach. By the way, is Mike Tomlin going to be answering to Brandon Beane? I don't think so. Mike LaFleur is a name out there, but he doesn't call plays, and it feels like Scheelhaase is the name that's just more sought after down in L.A., but he is a LaFleur, so it would be interesting to see if he gets a look for the Bills head coaching job. Grant Udinski, Jags OC, also doesn't call the plays, but he's being a hot head coaching candidate name. The Browns are thinking about hiring him. Grant Udinski just sounds like a head coach that's to be fired by the Browns after a year. But who knows if that's going to be the case. Jesse Minter, people are calling him the Sean McVay of defenses, the Ben Johnson of defenses this cycle. The Bills' defense played well enough this past week to win the football game, and it was the offense that didn't. Clearly, that needs to improve in some way, shape, or form if the Bills want to take the next step. So I don't know if they go with Minter there. And then for that same reason, I don't know if they go with Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers, who also just had 27 points put on him, 20-plus points put on him in the fourth quarter by the Chicago Bears. I'm not so sure that he is the name to go after here, but some 5 other names to watch here after we gave you my top 8 head coaching candidates for your Buffalo Bills after Sean McDermott's firing. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We'll be keeping you guys tapped in with all that you need to know about this Bills head coaching search. That doesn't really look like it's going to be wrapped up here very quickly. So subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, and as always, let's go Buffalo. Alrighty, who do you want to be the Bills' next head coaching option? I just listed off a bunch of names. Who do you got for me down in the chat? Okay. Popcorn went out and said earlier, unsubscribe because of your coaching picks. Okay, buddy. Who else? Like I only read the names that were available. Like I didn't put Ejiro Evero on the list. John Gruden. Guys, we're not doing John Gruden. Promote Brady. Indiana head coach Cignetti. I don't think that's happening. Maybe you make a call, make them say no, but I'm not doing that. Not sure if it was mentioned, but Coleman went ahead of McConkey, more egregious than trading down with the Chiefs. I don't think it's more egregious than trading down for the Chiefs. It was the wrong move, but I don't think it's more egregious than trading down for with the Chiefs. The Chiefs used Xavier Worthy to beat you last year in the AFC Championship game. That's already enough. The pick already paid off for Kansas City. Brian Flores, Minter. I don't know where you got your top 8 from. What do you mean? What do you mean? Where did I get my top 8 from? I made them up. Like those are names that are being circulated as head coaching hires. What are we talking about here? I didn't. Ponzi, did I come up with anything out of the blue, or are these names that I just ripped out of my ass? Like, what are we doing here?
For reference, I work with the Steelers channel. All those names have been mentioned.
Yeah, he works with the Steelers channel, a storied NFL franchise, by the way, an organization that has like no head coach changes. They've talked about all those names.
Like, I mean, other than like Joe Brady, But even then, that makes sense because,
He's being promoted.
yeah, internal hire.
The Bills love promoting people, so they're going to promote Joe Brady. Brady, Minter,
The worst
Kubiak.
name you could argue on there is Mike McDaniel, and even then, we've talked about him.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, he's an offensive-minded guy. People want an offensive-minded guy. And, unfortunately, this cycle, or fortunately or unfortunately, this cycle is full of a lot of retreads. There's a better chance than not Buffalo ends up with a retread. That's okay.
I don't think we can't have a retread here, man. The same old won't work. Kubiak. My top names out of those would be Kubiak.
Webb, if you're really risky.
Yeah, I would think about Brian Dable and then Davis Webb. Maybe do that as the head coach OC pairing. I would think about it. It's gonna be tough, man.
A lot of people want to say Tomlin. Look, man, Tomlin is what he is.
And you have to and
you have to nail those offensive coordinator.
You got to nail the coordinator spots.
But he's gonna want his guys.
He's gonna want his guys. He's gonna bring Arthur Smith to town. And it's gonna be brutal.
Jonnu Smith's probably coming in.
Jonnu Smith's coming in, or Matt Canada will be your head coach, or you'll be your offensive coordinator. Nobody wants that.
I'm really trying to think of other names. I like Udinski. I think Udinski also poses another if. And that's the thing is that if Buffalo's going to have to make a swing, they're going to have to go with an if. They're going to have to go with the Davis Webb. They're going to have to go with a
I agree. If you want to get over the hump, you got to take the leap. You got to take a leap of faith.
And Liam Cohen was the guy, first year offensive coordinator for the Bucks, and what he's done in Jacksonville. I mean, hey, he took Buffalo to the wire.
Yep. And
that's a roster that I think is not that good as well. So I think, you're going to have to get a full – if you're going to get offensive-minded and get a strong defensive coordinator hire, I think that's fine. Mm-hmm. It's just you're going to have to do more with less. You're going to need a head coach who's going to scheme up more with less, especially in the wide receiver department.
Agreed. What about DC? We can worry about that all later, man. I'm not going to lie. We're not at the point now of worrying about who the coordinators are going to be. We need to worry about who the head coach is going to be.
Another name that strong defensive presence, if you want to get him, Anthony Weaver's a guy. He commands the locker room. But it kind of feels like
I don't think the Bills locker room needs to be commanded. They're a group that rallies together. Josh Allen rallies that group. They don't need a rah-rah CEO head coach. They need somebody who can go fucking execute.
And I think that's the biggest thing that the Bills really need. They need a guy who could scheme people open with less talent and a cap situation that isn't ideal. Basically, you have Josh Allen make it work.
Yeah.
That's a guy you need.
Yep. And that tells me they're going to go after an offensive-minded head coach.
I think Kubiak's probably the guy.
But you have to wait on him now. And other teams can interview him. We can't. Right? Like the Steelers can interview him right. No, maybe because they made the playoffs.
A team like the Ravens, I think, can interview him.
Yeah,
but
team like the Ravens. It has to be neutral. He has to accept the interview as well.
Well, I was saying virtual too.
Oh, virtual. That's right. Okay, so nobody's probably going to hire him until they're eliminated. So I'm assuming that Clint Kubiak would take a Bills interview. Now the Bills could just say, "Screw all this. We need a head coach now, and we're going to go get Dable, and we're going to bring in Davis Webb, but we can't do that. You can't talk to him either." This is not going to be done anytime soon, guys. They may have a plan, but this isn't going to be done anytime soon.
They could either take the Falcons approach right now, which was, Stefanski, not the flashiest name, we're just going to hire him.
That's what the Falcons did. I think the Falcons settled.
Yeah, and the Falcons settled. I don't think Stefanski's a bad settle, but they could do better in if you want a hot shot guy on offense. Don't get me wrong, Cleveland's Cleveland, but Stefanski did not look good these last 2 years.
Oh my goodness, this is insane, folks.
And the whole thing is that if you knew that you needed some move to go over the hump, because there was a good tweet this morning about how the Bucks made 2 conference championship games in a row with Dungy, and then they fired him because he wasn't getting them over the hump. Hired John Gruden or traded for John Gruden, but
we're not John Grudening.
Yeah, obviously John Gruden was a hot shot back then. His system worked, but now a lot outdated.
Yeah,
and I think that was the problem with Tomlin, was that his scheme. His vision was old football. Same with Harbaugh.
Yeah.
But, you're going to have to nail the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator hires with these guys. Unless you're going full offensive-minded.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, if I think you got to kill two birds with one stone. I think you got to either get the DC at head coach or get the OC at head coach. And I think there's no way that they go DC here. There's no way.
I just don't think it. I mean,
It doesn't make sense. You don't fire McDermott
Yeah.
to go DC again. You don't do that.
Like, to me, this screams that they're going to go after a hot shot.
Yep.
That
And whether or not they think that hot shot is Joe Brady or not is yet to be determined. But
I just don't think Joe Brady's the guy for that.
yeah, but this is Brandon Beane leading the search.
Yeah, that's exactly
so
what I'm
this
saying.
is Brandon Beane leading the search. This means that Beane's going to hire somebody who thinks he can control. And that's going to be Joe Brady. Or maybe even Brian Dale. I'm sure he could.
And Dable has a good offense. It's just, being stuck with the talent of Daniel Jones and without Saquon Barkley because your GM's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. I feel like, if they go for a defensive-minded head coach, I genuinely don't know what Beane was thinking. Oh, we got to get over the hump. Here's another Sean McDermott.
Yep. Can't do it. Alrighty. We've been live for an hour and a half. I think that'll do it for today's show. I appreciate you guys all for joining. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be keeping you guys tapped in with everything you need to know about this Bills head coaching search. Going to be dropping that video about the Sean McDermott replacements later tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. Regardless, you guys will see it again later. You can talk about these head coaching names, and we'll keep you guys in the loop as we hear more about your Buffalo Bills and this head coaching search. Bills fire Sean McDermott after 9 seasons as head coach and not reaching a Super Bowl. Some could call it a scapegoat move. Brandon Beane now promoted, not from GM to GM plus president of football operations. I think it's a bad move, and we're going to keep talking about it on this channel. So subscribe, turn those notifications on. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, let's go Buffalo.